Hello and welcome back, artists and designers. Today we're going to go ahead and talk about how to create a color palette based off 5 colors here and kind of build off of that and get something a little bit more diverse. So first off, I grabbed this color palette from the Kuler site here, so you can make your own, or I just kind of found this one that I wanted to try and work with right here. And grab that and go ahead and put that in your Illustrator doc. So let's pull this up here. So here's my base 5 color palette, and what I want to do is I want to get dark tones and light tones added to that, essentially tints and shades. First off, how to add this color palette into our swatches. I'm going to have my swatches panel open here, select all of those blocks of color, hit the little folder icon. You can go ahead and title it if you want, selected artwork, and then boom, you're going to get that quick little 5 color palette right in there. But let's talk about how to get these additional colors. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this over here. There's my original palette, and I'll go ahead and make 2 more copies of that above and below, although it doesn't really matter too much. So let's select this first one, and we're going to go ahead, I'm going to hit the recolor artwork option right up top here. If you don't have that, it is under edit and edit colors and then recolor artwork, and we're going to pull up this this color wheel right here. So this can kind of do the trick, but what I'm actually going to do here is click on the advanced options and open up my next menu. And here we can actually assign specific color values to recolor artwork, but I'm going to go ahead and hit edit one more time and jump into this menu so that we see the color wheel again here. But what we're going to be able to do here is we're going to be able to take our 3 properties of color, hue, saturation, and brightness, and work with that across the whole set of color right here. So I think I'm not going to mess with hue. I'm going to go ahead and drop down the brightness on this to make a darker version of that color. You can decide whether you want to play with the saturation or not to get the effect that you want. Let's say I want to drop the saturation of the color and the brightness a little bit, and then I get a darker tone right there that I could use for my dark areas. And I think I'm happy with that, so I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And I'm going to repeat that process. I'm going to grab these bottom ones right here, recolor, advanced options, edit, and then I'm going to go back into this menu. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and bring the brightness on that up, and I'm going to go ahead and bring the saturation down a little bit so that I'm getting these lighter versions of the colors as well. Again, you can kind of eyeball this and adjust it to your liking, but that to me looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK one more time on that. And now I went from a 5 color palette to a 15 color palette. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all of those, and I can do the same thing. Grab my new color group, selected swatches, and I have now a much broader range of colors in that palette, but it's all within that same group right here. And of course, you can kind of rearrange these colors a little bit. I'm not sure how it picks the order here in terms of the colors. I'm guessing it's the order in which they were kind of made or applied, the layer that they're on. Okay, so let's move on and experiment with yet another way to expand that palette out and get more actual color. So not just choosing shades and tints, but how to get a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my colors. Here's my original palette here, and I'm going to separate them out. So let's go ahead and give ourselves a little bit more room and space here. Let me zoom back out, and let's just take this one color and move it down a little bit further away. I'm going to select all of them, and then let's go ahead and hit our align feature right here, and let's go ahead and distribute those out evenly so that I get some spaces in between. And that looks pretty good to me. Now, I'm going to tell you here, the order in which you place these colors is going to affect the colors that you get in between. So you'll see that played out. Actually, before I do that, let's go ahead and make a copy so that I can test out a couple different versions of this. So let's take this first one and see how we do this. I'm going to select all of those, and I'm going to hit my blending option right here, my blending tool, and I'm going to go ahead and just connect these so that it's going to go in the right order. And as I do that, you can see it makes that nice kind of gradient across, which is pretty cool, but we want actual colors in between each one of these items here. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on that, and under my options here, I'm going to go ahead and do specified steps, and I'm going to choose, instead of 79, I'm going to do 1. If you check and uncheck preview, you can see that adds one actual swatch in between each of those colors. So I'm going to hit OK at that point. And now I have these color swatches in between. Now this is just a blend right now. You can't actually click on these swatches, so we are going to have to expand this so that we can actually select them. So I'm going to go up to Object and Expand, and once I do that, I'm going to hit OK, and now these are actual swatches. Now it does group them as well, so I can right click and ungroup that, and I now have some actual swatches in between. Do that same process, select all these guys, whoops, select all those, hit my swatch menu and go ahead and add them in there. And now let's just try one more thing. Let's rearrange a couple of these colors. Let's put this one over here. Let's put this one down here. And yeah, maybe we'll just switch those two. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm not even going to worry about getting these perfectly aligned. Let's go ahead and do that same process. Select them, blend tool, click, 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 and then double click on the blend, change it from smooth color, specified steps, one step, and hit OK. And you can see now we're getting a little bit of a different color because this bluish purple here is kind of working with the red to get that color in between there that was not available before, and the same thing with this orange between the yellow and the red here. So you get a little bit of a different variety depending on the order that you put your color swatches in. So one more final time, we'll go ahead up to Expand, and then we'll ungroup that. And we have our new swatches here, which again, we can go ahead and click, make a new group here, throw those in there, and you got another set. Of course, you're welcome to build on any of those to get light and dark values. I could take any of these and repeat that same process that I did in the first group. I could select these, go up to my recolor artwork, dive in here, edit, and then I could drop that and get darker tones of those colors if I would like to do that, and lighter shades and add those in. So you can take that 5 color palette that I started with here, and you can really kind of build off that same color palette and get a good blend of colors that do work pretty well together. So there you go, a couple different ways to expand that 5 color palette and get a little bit more diversity and variety in your artwork. So have some fun and use those techniques. See you in the next video.